getting in fine the other day, weren't you? No way not making it tonight. You were getting in fine the other day, weren't you?
Okay, good evening all. Hopefully I'm about to hear that come out of my monitor. Busy transponder tonight. Let's put a bit more gain onto that. Good. Right, we have G4FKK, G0MJW, G4HJW and GI4DOH for when he sorts things out. Gosh, things look quite busy. Most of the transponder power being gobbled. I will fight back a little bit. Let's put another dB on the fire. Main news this week is it's been prep for Cat 21, a couple of meetings about it. We seem to be in a good shape, all starting at 10:30 on Saturday morning. Don't forget to bring your masks, because we'll try and keep those on indoors. There's quite a bit of equipment being taken there for swapping or bring and buying. I've got some. I know Noel's got quite a bit. I think Frank M0AU and Brian GQS are also bringing stuff. Right, I've added M0DTS to the list. And James, are you transmitting tonight? GTZ on the list as well. Let us know if you're transmitting, James. No idea about the Trio R1000 realignment. So, without further ado, let's put it round to Martin. G4FKK and the net G8GKQ.
Right. I almost finished dinner, Dave. G8GKQ, G4FKK. Oh, and Gareth's there too. Good evening all. Luckily you can't see my dinner plate here at the moment. Anyway, it's half demolished. Yes, Cat 21, Dave. I've been finagled there. My plan was to go up there, go up to Coventry tomorrow, overnight. But I've had to cancel that because we've got a family thing on tomorrow. This is going to be. Am I strong enough with all these big signals going? Should be. Yeah. So either I won't be there at all on Saturday, or I'll have to drive up from here on Saturday morning. In which case I won't be there by 10, sadly. Anyway, we'll see how things pan out, I think. But for those that are going, do have a great time. It looks like it's going to be a good one, Dave. So that's good. I've done quite a lot with television this week, the DATV, but it's mainly fettling this new computer, so I won't. I'll leave the bitcoins at home. Okay. Mainly fettling the software. But what I did do, Mike, I dug out the 10-meter converter again. I still haven't finished building the high power amplifier for 10 meters, but I played around with tweaking the bias on the two adjustable devices on my little board. And if I can get this right, which is unlikely, so let's go to studio mode and pictures. There you go. There's the rather unpleasant looking test setup. Let me just see if that is coming out. I'll have to do that. I've still only got one screen in here at the moment for all this juggling, so it's not very easy. Oh yeah, it's not too bad, is it? Right, go back to there. So that's the unpleasant looking test setup. That is the sweep of the amplifier from 0 to 300 megs. I should have taken a few more pictures of intermediate frequencies, but you'll notice it's pretty flat up till about 106 megs when there's a peak. We've dropped 10 dBs by somewhere above that. Anyway, it gives about a watt out on 2 meters, not of DATV, but a useful watt anyway. And that's what it looks like now, Mike, through the amplifier. That's running about half a watt of DVB-T. So it looks like to me as if the shoulders are about 40 dBs down now, rather than the sort of 30 to 35 they are without adjusting the bias. And what I did, I've put another 10 milliamps on the driver transistor, so normally it would be biased to 35 milliamps. It's now 45, and I'm hammering the poor old output device a bit by. It's not really actually. I've set it for half an amp quiescent. Yeah, sign language, Gareth. That's what you need. So it's about half an amp quiescent, and that certainly cleans it up quite nicely, I think. So now we need to find out how linear the high power one's going to be. Right, let's put that back to camera 1. And what's camera 2? Camera 3. I'm still not sure I like this one. You can see too much of me. Right, so with that then, I shall put it round to you, Mike. And yeah, it'd be good if you got the audio going, Gareth. It'd be nice to see and hear you this evening. G0MJW and the group. This is G4FKK standing by.
Good, hopefully that's working. If not, say so on the chat. Good evening everyone, nice to see everyone and hear everyone tonight. Good to see that, Martin. That looked very clean actually, the DVB-T, so that's quite good. I'm never quite sure where we should be measuring the shoulders from in terms of power density. I guess it's from the top of the flat bit, in which case it's 40 dB is pretty good for DVB-T, so not at all bad. And on 10 meters, it probably won't make any difference. So that's great. Good. I must build one of those amplifiers. I've got the parts, at least some of the parts now, but we'll get round to it anyway. As for the cat, yeah, I'm going to bring a few bits and pieces, but I'm not sure exactly what yet. So I was just looking through the junk that I was going to bring to the Didcot Rally, and I spotted two 28 volt power supplies, so I chucked them in, and then I spotted a 80 to 120 megahertz crystal replacement thing. I can't remember what we used to call them, but they were ADRETs, and they provide synthesized locked 10 megahertz signals. So I thought, well, I'm not going to use that, so I might as well chuck that in. And then I found the TS480, which was already in the box, and I don't think anyone will be wanting a TS480, so I took that out. And I found an S-band, what's that, 2.4 gigahertz Comtech transmitter and receiver, so I've chucked that in as well. But here's the stuff that I'm bringing for testing, so let me know if that's not what's needed. You can't actually quite see everything there, can you? Let me just move a few things about. This one in particular. So I thought I'd better bring that. Can you see that yet? That's a power supply, which is a buck boost converter. So you can put anything into it and get anything out of it within reason. I've got that, and underneath it are two battery packs, 16 volt LiPo battery pack, so that will power the LNBs without needing a power supply. But I suspect we'll use a power supply, it's just in case we haven't got one. Then there's a box with what looks like lots of wires in it, which is the Colin G4EML's converter. Not converter, sorry, LNB tuner. Then there's the 10 megahertz, 10 meter rather, transverter. There's a potty, which has got the various bits in it. There's a nano VNA. Now I'm not sure, Gareth, I thought you had a nano VNA, in which case there's no point me bringing one for tuning potties, so do tell me if you've got one and I won't bother. A tiny spectrum analyzer for no better reason than why not, and a set of 3D printed bits for those who want them. And there's a limited supply of those because I got a bit fed up after a while. They're made out of ABS rather than PLA, so hopefully they'll survive outside. And that's about it. So if anything else is needed, please tell us before it's too late. But I understand lots of things are going to be brought by Dave and by Noel, so I don't think there'll be a shortage of stuff. Right, with that, I don't think I should carry on much longer because there's a big net, which is great. So it's Bernie, I think, G4HJW, G0MJW. Over to you.
Okay, thank you Mike. G4HJW. We're not too much power. Now, since that station's come on, I'll leave it at that. But probably want a picture from the test card. See what that does. I'll keep my eye on the text around. Unfortunately, the shack isn't very ergonomically designed. I've got some monitors in front of me and some behind, so I can't really see my outgoing transmission. It just seems better to keep an eye on the web SDR so I can see any comments coming through. Oh no, surely not. Sorry about that. Yeah, you see, that was good. Yeah, that's the thing switching over to the AV dongle, but it didn't do that right at the start. I assume that's, yeah, okay. But that should be better. Yeah, that's right. Apologies about that. I've really come on just to say good evening. It's been a while since I've been on. I also thought, since I'm going to come up on Saturday, I'll just say really, I'm not bringing test equipment, but I'm bringing the first 200 issues of CQTV for Brian. I'm just hoping that Brian is going to be there, but it'll be nice to see everybody. I've not been doing any TV or a great deal of radio at all, given that this is a special year to do lots of tidying up, which oh, he will be there. That's brilliant, good. And I might bring other things that he might be interested in, and I shall come in the electric car, which is the old Leaf. So a Leaf only does about 80 miles per charge, so I shall be spending more time charging than I probably will be at the conference. I am envious of all modern electric cars that will do at least 200 genuine miles per charge. That makes all the difference to me, but I want to keep this one as long as I can. Right, as I say, I don't have an awful lot to say, just a case of saying hello to everybody. I've been reluctant to come on because I say I'm not doing any TV work, and everybody else is, so it's very embarrassing just to come on and say not a great deal really. So I'll see all those that are there on Saturday, and I'll see what I can do on the Sunday in terms of the virtual do as well. So on to you, Richard. And I have been watching, you probably noticed, I've been watching most weeks, so I'm up to date with at least what comes on here. So I'm sorry Richard, I shall have to look, GI4DOH in the group, to take it rather, G4HJW. Oh, and I will make it just this one over, unless there's really anything to come back on, but I say I don't have a great deal, so you take it Richard, please.
One, two, three. It's G4HJW with the group GI4DOH. Nice to see you again, Bernie. It has been a while, and look forward to seeing you on Saturday. I hope to be there. All things all things go to plan. One of the things is the pair of trousers I intend wearing tomorrow is in the washing machine at the moment, so I mustn't forget to stick them in the tumble dryer. I wonder if anybody is, look at the camera and not the screen, I wonder if anybody's planning to eat in the old mill tomorrow night. I will be spending the day with my daughter in Birmingham, but I can be there at any time. If anybody else is eating there, I can do that. Otherwise, I'll just turn up later on. So if anybody's going to, yes, and Noel, I'll have both my passports. Uh, just so I can be an EU citizen if I wish as well. I don't care about political divides in this country. I am what I best need to be at any given time. So yes, I'll have it. I have some idea one of the airlines insists on a passport anyway, as opposed to a driving license or other recognised identification document, or certainly was the case in the past. So yeah, I don't have an awful lot to say. I've wasted quite a bit of time this week with I received a 4-metre HB9 CV from a well-known company on the mainland, and it was resonating very nicely at around the 74 megahertz mark, and the little capacitor did adjust the SWR on it and didn't really make any difference to the resonant frequency, as you would expect. I did send them an email and they responded that they'd sold thousands of these. I note that they're rather obscure sort of instruction sheet talks about two different sizes and the two different lengths of elements it might have, and they suggest that the longer elements are for the higher frequency of the two models they seem to do. So that being the case, I suspect they've sent me the wrong one. So waiting to hear from them about that. But I did spend a certain amount of time getting the thing set up, and then when it didn't work, working out how to use my Nano VNA, which I hadn't touched for about a year. So that was a day gone on that. The only good thing is the heat sinks for the 23 centimeter amplifier they've arrived. We've gone for these ones because they do fit nicely on this size of box, and I was able to get 5 for a ridiculously cheap price, and indeed because I've got 5 of them and will be using them in the future, I've made a little template with the 3D printer for marking the holes on the base, and also little holes to if they show down the side there to show where the fins are. And in the particular case with this board, all the instructions are about using the M3 holes to secure the heat spreader to the board while you solder it into place, and then to use M2.5 screws. But the spreader is actually threaded M3 itself and same firm things. There was no reason why I shouldn't put a screw from the outside of the heatsink in, or if necessary, if they don't have enough bite, to use 2.5 things. So I sort of set myself up for getting the holes right first time, which is always good, and I have marked out the box for cutting a square hole for the heat spreader to go right through the box onto the heatsink, and then the little tin plate bits to solder in place on the board when I've got the height and everything right. So it's all new stuff to me, a wee bit different from playing around with HF stuff. So all steep learning curve, but I am enjoying it, and all the rest. So enough from me for one go. I'll pass it on to Rob, 0DTS with the group. This is GI4DOH.
Well, hey, it's working. Wonder what the audio level's right. Oh, it's okay. Yeah, we'll do. It'll do. Very fine there, Mike. Yeah, that was... I just closed OBS and closed the encoder, and it seems to have come back somehow. But, worked perfectly earlier. I switched it on, worked straight away, and then just come to use it now, and I'll tune in locally, check my lip sync. Didn't work, but anyway, we're back in business. So yeah, evening everyone. I missed a bit of the last couple of overs there playing around with stuff, but anyway, yeah, I hope you all enjoy Cat 21. I haven't been organised enough to sort anything for that, so no, I won't be there, but hope that goes well. Been out portable today. Wasn't the most successful portable trip ever, but well, it was in a way, but also we had a few problems. So we've been planning for a little while now. Clive and myself, D4FEP, been planning to do a 24 gigs test. We've done up to like 50 kilometers quite easily on 24 gigs, and we wanted to try and get that 100 kilometers. Just to sort of break that barrier to see whether we could do it. So we're kind of organised for today, and went portable. So let's see. I haven't got anything really to show from this, but I took a couple of pictures while I was there. So I was at Danby Beacon, which is on the edge of the North Yorkshire Moors, on the road towards Whitby. I just took a couple of pictures. There's not really a lot to show for it, but that's the path there. So basically, it's a sea path, just about line of sight. It just skims the water. That's a big plate that they've put on top of the stone up there with all the kind of like a map of well, not a map, but a compass with all the local viewpoints, sort of thing. So yeah, it was kind of northwesterly from this location. But anyway, once we actually got things lined up and received some signals, we were just testing with the carrier first, just to line up on, because it's very tricky getting lined up on 24 gigs with 80 centimetre dish at one end and a 60 centimetre at the other. But we got lined up, and then unfortunately Clive's battery ran out on his car. And we were only playing around for about 40 minutes with QRP effectively, so we don't know why his battery went flat, but luckily there was somebody nearby who had some jump leads, so he managed to get things sorted. So yeah, anyway, but yeah, we never finished the QSO because he was trying to organise stuff to get himself home. So yeah, that was the attempt. Anyway, it would have worked on TV. We just switched over to do some 125 kilosymbols and plus or minus 20 dB of QSB, I would say. It was going to work fine, but we never actually got to that point. I was just about to switch over, and it didn't work, unfortunately. So there we go. So yeah, a little bit annoying that, but next time. Seapath, cheating, well, why not? It's there. We've done that same path, or very similar path we did on optical on red light back in 2010. So we know it can work, or very similar path anyway. That was I think the optical one was slightly better. This one needs about 1.3 or 1.4 on the earth curvature for the 24 gigs, but the optical was slightly better. Yeah, so anyway, I'll talk about lower frequencies on the next over. So that'll do for now. Yeah, it was very QSB, so that was quite interesting.
Wow, it works. Yes. Evening all. First time for a few weeks. I had 1 or 2 hiccups, remember, last time I tried to get on. And yeah, that was a bit nasty that just swept across there. Yeah, well, evening to everybody, and glad everybody's sort of getting prepared or looking forward to CAT. Yes, Martin, that was pretty impressive. That was quite good. The shoulders for OFDM 40 dB is pretty good. So no, quite impressed. I wonder how many watts that was, or whether that was just at a drive level. Presume it was. What's going on this end? Yeah, preparing for CAT today, really. Yeah, I just rushed out and took a picture of the back of the car. Half a watt. Yeah, that's pretty good. That's still pretty good, Martin. Took a picture of the car just to show. There'll be some junk there. That's what I've got packed so far. What's in there? I don't know. A few bits and pieces. A few SMA connectors on some stuff. So yeah, having quite a big clear out actually. I haven't been to a good junk sale for a long time. So I think I'll be coming back home, but I discovered I got a broadcast encoder and a broadcast modulator, so that's what the big 1U boxes sitting in the bottom are. I think they'll probably come back, but somebody may be interested in them. Professional encoder and professional modulator. So, but apart from that, lots of goodies. It's amazing when you actually sit down and have a clear out, you discover how much you've got of duplicate stuff. There's 1 or 2 Comtech modules even. I didn't realise I got so many of those. Yes, I am Mr. Robinson. Sorry I didn't return your phone call last night. Mr. FRE has just sent me a text. So that's that. Talking to Mr. Robinson, we did go out portable last Tuesday. We went out to Hackpen near Swindon. Dave FRE went to in Wales, and we tried. Well, we did 24. We tried 47 and 76, and the propagation gods were against us. It was not very good. We did. It was 93 kilometres, and we did TV. That was pretty strong. I'm getting bugged by my by somebody watching on the stream. I'm sorry, Dave. I'll give you a call when I've finished. We did 93 kilometres on 24 gigs, and then we tried on 47, and it wasn't that strong on narrowband. Certainly didn't go on TV, and we couldn't even make it on 76 gigs, even with Dave's QRO. So things were bad. That's Neil G4 LDR. So yeah. So that was that. Other things we've been doing. I got seriously sidetracked by Brian G4NNS, and started to listen to beacons on 50 megs via Meteor Scatter 49.97 as a beacon, and he's heavily into a 50 meg Meteor Scatter project on beacons, and I sort of got sidetracked down there as well. The other thing I've been doing, I've been trying to work out if we can do anything with the loss of the Farnham site. We've lost the site at Farnham for the web SDR and GB3HV, so I've been doing a bit of work on that. So yeah, nothing really to show, but no bench cam today, but things going on, and look forward to seeing everybody on on Saturday, and I trust you will be there, Martin. It's not that far to drive. Come on, it's a couple of hours on a Saturday morning. Be fine. Right, I haven't got a clue who's next. I was not paying attention. Who's next? Who's next? Who's next? Oh, crap on the chat. XAT, Gareth. Good. Okay. Round to you, Gareth. G4XAT and the BATC Net G8GTZ. GT. GT.
Well, that's promising. Yep, good. Right. Put me on. Evening all from G4XAT. Thank you, Noel. I've been a bit discombobulated this week. I worked away doing property maintenance Thursday to Monday, and that's pretty much blanked my memory of what I was supposed to be doing, but I've managed a little bit of radio stuff today, not least loading up the car with interesting things, but I wouldn't say I've finalised, but I've got a working prototype for a tripod. I wouldn't call it a gimbal, I'd call it a swivel. So I'm bringing that with, picking up some screws from my son in Warwick en route, because he has access to very nice stainless steel cap heads and all sorts of posh things like that. I've been eating my wine cap mushrooms, which are growing in a bed of wood chip, and they've gone berserk. I picked a kilo of them today. A kilo of mushrooms is quite a lot. And we had some pink oysters as well. And that's probably it from me. I will not waffle on, but it's nice to see those that 23 sems amp. I've got a feeling when I bolted mine down, unless it came ready bolted, I think I stuck the hex standoffs in a lathe and reduced their diameter down a bit so that they weren't going to short anything out, if indeed that's what you're all talking about. So maybe that'll help you, Richard. But it sounds as though you're on the case there, so it doesn't matter. Right, back round to you then, Dave. G8 GKQ from G4XAT in the BATC Thursday Evening Net. Over.
G4XAT and the net G8GKQ. Good. Let's go through the comments for Gareth. Did you just want to peak those filters, those 10 gigs filters? I can't sweep them, but we could peak them on 10368. We'll have the kit to do that. So perhaps you can come back to me on the chat on whether you just want to peak them or whether you need to sweep them. Martin, that spectrum shape looks really good, and I would hazard a guess that a lot of that noise is actually coming out of the SDR or whatever, and not being generated in the PA. But okay, Gareth, got that. Anyway, it's more than acceptable to go on the air, that's for sure. Richard, heatsinks, yes, the only time I do any serious tapping of metal is for heatsinks to bolt things down. But yeah, it can be a problem with screws fouling stuff. Okay, what I've been up to this week, well, I have sorted out just one Sainsbury's box full of junk, the blue sort of boxes you saw in Noel's photo, and a 3U 19-inch rack unit that's a video monitor that's free to a good home. But the main thing I've been doing is sorting out the test gear, and hence the shack behind me is looking a little more empty than usual. It's not emptied out yet because I need some of the kit to transmit tonight. But after tonight, it's all going to get torn down. Yes, we will be in the old mill tomorrow evening for dinner, and Saturday evening as well. The other stuff I've been up to is been doing some work on the ports down. There's a development release out. Let's give a bit more oomph on there with more support for webcams. The C525 should be supported now. I still haven't managed to sort out what the problem was with Collins C930, but we'll get there in the end. And the other thing that's really tedious, I've been doing the contest scoring for the IARU International Contest. I have done everybody now except the Italians, and I have a folder of 30 Italian logs that I'm working my way through. But once they're done, then I should be able to at least issue a first draft of the scores. And as you can imagine, that's time and tedious, but it'll be worth it to highlight the amount of activity that's going on. Okay, well, we're doing well. It's first time round, and Bernie acknowledged you might not come back this time, so Mike, if you can pass it straight to Richard, unless Bernie wants to say anything. So back around to Martin, and sorry for interrupting your dinner. G4FKK and the net G8GKQ.
Well, that keeps coming back on low power. Doesn't usually do that. Anyway, it did this time and last time. Yes, very good, and well, great to see everyone on. Oh, the lighting's a bit dim in here. That won't be much better, but means I can at least see what I'm doing. Oh, Bernie will have a second over. That's very good. Yeah, surprising what you get on a train. I do remember bringing back an AR-88 on a train from I forget which rally it was, either Woburn or Longleat or somewhere. No, it was probably the Brighton rally years ago. Anyway, luckily I had two colleagues who were able to help with that operation. But my mother was not impressed at all when I turned up with that. And everyone looks like they've got some good gear to bring. I'd ask for another set of your 3D printing for the patch feed, Mike. But well, I might be there. I just did a quick check now. Well, it's 2 hours 22 minutes at this time of night. So, well, and I'll have to take a view. It rather depends on how festive the family do the day before gets, to be honest, whether I can drive the next day. Also, I'd have to borrow my wife's car, as my car currently is sawned. So even the 80-mile range Leaf would be better than that, Bernie. 200 CQ TVs. We'll need a few. An hour from you and you're 45 minutes from me. Well, that was Google Maps. Let's see where they're taking me. Oh, I've not got it up anymore. Yeah, Google Maps said 2 hours 22 minutes. I thought you were in Oxfordshire somewhere, Mike. That's more than 45 minutes from here. It probably takes my 77 signal 45 minutes to get there. And yeah, that'll take a long time to get through all those, Bernie. But I imagine they're actually for Brian to do some scanning, I guess. Richard, good to see you, and good work on the heat sinks there. And yeah, don't forget your trousers. My grandmother was Irish. I wonder if that counts. I wonder if I can get an Irish passport with that. I suspect not. My daughter's boyfriend's Irish, but I don't think that counts either, does it? Google usually spot on. M25. Yeah, that's the way. That's the way it was That was the way it was suggesting, Gareth. 45 minutes from Glidford. Anyway, we'll see how that goes. I do want to be there, so I probably will make the effort if it's possible. Rob, interesting that your F1 EJP crashed. I've been using it for quite a while, and I've left it on all day before now, and it's worked perfectly. But last week, I think it was the World Wide Web on the Sunday, and it'd been on about 15 minutes and it crashed. So I don't know what caused that. What I've been doing tonight is I've been turning off F1 EJP and the virtual cam stream as well, and then firing them up just before while Dave's on. Shame about the portable and the flat battery, but that looks exciting. I didn't realise that you were operating quite so near Middlesbrough. I was working in Middlesbrough a couple of years ago, so but of course I don't think I knew you at that point. Oh yeah, no, that looks like a good boot full of stuff, and yeah, it's a drag about the HV site, isn't it? The BH site sounds promising. I think what would be really nice would be something on top of Reigate Hill, probably where GB3NS used to be, but I think, well, it was Dennis's mum's house, wasn't it? And I think that's long gone. I think he had to turn it off at one point, GB3NS, because there was a garage petrol station nearby and no one could open their cars when it was transmitting, which I thought was their fault, really. They're not licensed to receive amateur transmissions. Diddly-diddly-dee. And, of course, yeah, BH 10 gigs. I have got a little dish used for that. Gareth, 1 kilogram of mushrooms. You're surely not going to eat all of those, are you? Maybe you are. And that's very good. So I'm glad the dams and mulch is working well. And yes, could be SD. I'm sure though, Dave, talking about the noise on that picture. I'm sure the output of the Pluto was cleaner than that. I haven't got a picture to prove that, but yeah, the 40 dB is a lot better than it was before I biased it all up. And someone said earlier about an AR88D. I think that was. I'll help my dad bring an AR88 from Lyle Street to South London on the train. So it can be done, can't it? But yeah, not in a rucksack though. So Tim. So there you go. 3 hours 10 minutes from Rob. Oh, I think an Irish grandparent is enough for Irish. Really? Oh, thank you, Duncan. I'll do some research on that then. 6 miles southwest, 6 mines southwest of Middlesbrough. Is that a pun, or is that? Oh, it was miles even. There probably were about 6 mines between you and Middlesbrough. Get a little magic or normal mushrooms, wine caps and oysters. Right. Okay. Right. Well, I think that's enough waffle for me. I could show the pictures again, but there's not much point. You've seen those. But it sounds promising, doesn't it? It rather depends on how much I can squeeze out of the MRF 300 amplifier that I'm planning on using, which is still in the box. So actually, I bought another one of those because I thought that was quite a good way of buying MRF 300s, because you get 2 in the kit, even though they only use 1. Oh, the update, by the way, Dave, that sounds interesting. And well done you for the contest scoring. As if you're not sort of peering at a computer screen long enough with all the programming. I think you deserve some sort of medal, probably. Okay, back round to you, Mike. I'll say cheerio, lest we go around quickly again. And thanks for running things, Dave. G0MJW, G4FKK.
Thank you, Martin. Hopefully it's locked up already. It has on mine, but that doesn't mean it has on anybody else's. So let's see. Yeah, the MRS 300 PA, I got 300 watts out saturated, just about. I got a bit less on DATV, but it was significant. It was about 40-50 watts, so it wasn't nothing to be sneezed at. So pretty good, and the shoulders weren't bad either. I used a different set of amplifiers. I built one of the American, what was it, TAPR amplifiers, and that's very, very linear, and it covers about 1.5 megs to 2 meters. It's very useful as a driver amplifier. It only produces 5 watts or so, but if you push it back down to half a watt, then it's very, very clean as the input, really. So that's what I was using to drive that. But you only need about 100 milliwatts of drive, so you may well be able to do even better than that. So that's great, and I look forward to seeing it. What else? I'm just looking at my list. Got to make sure I don't repeat myself. Yeah, always take jump leads, especially when you own a Land Rover. That's always a good idea, and possibly a spare battery as well. It's really bad news about HV. I was thinking about this though the other day and thinking Winter Hill would be a good place to put a simple DATV repeater, perhaps when I'm not using the shack. But I don't know, it'd be very difficult to get planning permission probably from up there. But it's got a good view. But yeah. Oh, and I fixed the 77 system that gave me some problems last week. And then I remembered that I've moved shack, so I'm upstairs now. I used to be downstairs, but I'd still left the cables in around to the rear antenna. So just to give you an idea if this works, that's my back garden at the moment. It's not that light, it's just a little bit late in terms of when the picture was taken. And that tower, I had some cables from the old shack to that tower, and they're about 20 to 25 meters, and they went all the way around from my office room to there. So I've rescued those. So I've got 3 lengths of LDF 400 and 1 length of LDF 450 that I've got. So that will work to replace other bits that are broken if necessary. What else? Yeah, that's covered my list, I think. So the other thing I was going to show you is I showed you this video a while back, and it sort of annoys the encoder, which is a 3D printer. Anyway, I've been doing some recent stuff with thermal imaging. So I thought I'd just, whilst we're enjoying ourselves, show you some thermal images. So this is the thermal printer, the same one you see there, doing some thermal printing. That's not particularly interesting. And today a combine harvester decided to drive past the house. So when that video in the bottom right hand side stabilises, at some point you'll see a combine harvester drive by in thermal imaging. That's not particularly interesting, but I was looking for something to do, so that's what I did. And it's interesting how dark the sky is and how the clouds show up. Anyway, while waiting for that, I guess back round to Bernie. So yes, it's not quite got there yet, so give it a couple of more seconds perhaps. But let's go round to Bernie whilst I sort out the test card. Yeah, there it goes. So, oops, sorry, I've got some sound there. There, you can see it going past now, very slowly. Great big lumbering combine harvester. Yes, that's the cat phone now, Martin. Right, time for the test card. G0MJW, so around to Bernie, G4HJW, G0MJW.
Okay, Mike, thank you. G4HJW. I missed the last minute or so of your over on that, Mike. You'll see why. As I do a fade, you'll see I've got the cat on my knee, and I couldn't go through to the the web SDR or the BATC camera. Right, let's have that audio off. Now everything should be okay. I do like the shot you do from the second floor, Mike, over the garden. At some time I want to be able to do the same thing. It gives a nice pseudo 3D effect, and I quite like that. I've really come on to apologise for the comment, Martin, on local oscillator noise. That was very lazy of me. The first comment I thought was reasonable enough, that if it's just intermod, it really should be mimicking the shape of the main transmission. But to actually then say, well, it could be phase noise, was very lazy. So I apologise about that, and well done for nobody slating me for that. But it's something though, isn't it? It's something. It's either a mixture of intermod and something, or it's totally dominated by something. But on the outer edge it's 60 dB down, so it looks very good to me. Anyway, that one's open for speculation, I think. Although, no, speculation is a terrible thing, isn't it? On amateur radio, we come up with so many bad ideas. I should know better. Anyway, enough of that. The business about the Irish passport, I can only think back to the days of when the Irish football team were doing well under Jack Charlton, where a lot of the players were actually English, and he did the most amazing job of being able to justify players from anywhere other than Ireland based on family history. I thought he was quite a comedian from that point of view, and if you remember, Ireland did very well in that World Cup, certainly better than England. Anyway, I'm sure football is probably a topic not to be discussed on here. Yes, the back issues of CQTV, when I said 200, I don't know how many Brian wants, but I've certainly got from issue 1 to issue 200, because Ian just did not throw anything out at all. I've invoices for everything he had, and so the magazines are there, but those early ones, I don't know whether it was a Gestetner copier, but they faded quite badly. But better that somebody like Brian have them than me. I'm trying to go through all the old books that Ian had, because they're just interesting. But I spent this week trying to dig the base out from the 60-foot Versa Tower, or the predecessor of the Versa Tower, the chap who did the original design before he sold it on to Versa Towers. You know, all that stuff is going up to Kevin at Finningley, and he's been down 4 or 5 times, and he got a colleague to come down and take the 2 inner sections of the mast back. So we still got the lower section and the post to get out the ground. Strangely enough, it's done me a lot of good. Being retired, I've got physically very lazy, and I can tell you all my aches and pains disappeared with digging, trying to dig the tower out. I was left tired, but that really tells you not to be very careful not to be physically lazy at any time, let alone when you retire. Right, I think what I'm saying now qualifies as rambling, really. So I'll wish everybody a good night. But I had to come on and apologise about the intermod there. But it would be good if somebody wants to put another comment out as to what they think it is that's causing the sloped shoulders rather. So see everybody at be good to see you as well, Richard, if you're going to be there. That'll be very nice, and everybody else, of course. If you can recognise me with a mask on. Were it to be a steaming hot day, I'd be there in shorts, but I don't think that's what we're going to get, so you're not going to have to put up with that awful sight. 73 is anyway from Little Wilburn, and see those that are there on Saturday, and maybe some of the others on the virtual do on the Sunday. So G4HJW, passing it on to you, Richard. See if I can remember without looking. No, I'm going to look. GI4 DOH, G4HJW. I shall listen to for the full length of the net, but certainly I won't come back on again. Good night. Good night.
G4HJW with the group GI4DOH. I'm intrigued, Bernie, how because of the mask I might not recognise you, but if you're wearing shorts it would be different. But there you go. You can elaborate on that on Saturday. And fine on the time of the dinner at 8 o'clock on or tomorrow evening. I'll be there for that. And just noting, just on the subject of the board with the heat spreader on the back, I can see how if you were to use M3 screws coming through and had nuts on that side, yes, there might be an issue. But given the depth of that copper spreader does seem to be threaded the whole way through. That the heatsink in itself does have a reasonable amount of meat for tapping into, but it's so much easier if there's already a thread on the heat spreader there. So we'll see what happens when the time comes with that. All good fun. In fact, turns out on this. What is this? This is a 23 centimetre amplifier, supposedly 18 watt. I think it's one of the little Mitsubishi things in it. It's sort of the same width, but not as, going to contradict myself, not as wide, not the same length, slightly shorter this way. And I'm planning to put a next size of fan up on this one. Because this is what I'll be driving it with, I'm not going to achieve the 70 watts that Jim reckons that I can get out of it. So I'm not overly worried about the amount of cooling that I'll give it. But all part of the challenge for me. And I didn't comment last time round Gareth on the mushrooms. I was out for lunch today with my sister and brother-in-law, and I had a very nice Thai meal, and I noticed it was quite top heavy in mushrooms, and I'm not normally a great fan of them, but they were very good, apart from they're still lying heavily in my stomach at the moment, but I'll get over that. And fine on the idea of rounding the nuts, if indeed I were challenged with spacing between tracks and nuts. That's something for me to bear in mind in the future. I did comment, I think I had posted a message to say I was having audio trouble when I was getting things set up, and that's why I'm using the headset as opposed to the usual Bluetooth thing. And I think that's just a result of Windows did an update during the week, and I should have known to check the audio settings, as it tends to sort of revamp. I don't know whether it's number associated with them or whatever, and there's an issue with the Bluetooth hands-free thing, convincing it that you don't want stereo audio out with no microphone in. That has to be tampered with, and a few minutes before the NEP was due to start wasn't the time to be playing around with that. So back to the guaranteed USB headset here. The other thing about bringing by, I'm not actually bringing anything. My daughter, who lives in Birmingham, will actually be coming over to Northern Ireland in another few weeks' time. So if I were to buy anything that I can't really take as hand baggage on the flight back on Sunday night, I can leave with her and she can bring over. But we'll see what happens. I'm not short of projects to work on. And Martin, what you were saying about the Irish thing, well, going back to my own grandparents would have effectively been born in Ireland pre-partition anyway. In fact, they would have both been south of what is the border now. So it wasn't an issue for me. And also my younger daughter opted to go for an Irish passport, which she's entitled to because I am technically born on the island of Ireland. My wife, who's from Langford Budville in Somerset, for those that know Somerset or know the Magna Carta, where Langford Budville got a mention, she could have applied for an Irish passport on the grounds that she was married to me. The thing being, if her application had been accepted, which it probably would have been, she would have had to pay best part of €1,000, I think, as part of the admin for the nationalisation and the rest. So sadly, with her untimely demise, it never became an issue for us, and I'm now free to travel on whatever passport I choose, depending on what my destination is. I assume if Friedrichshafen gets going again, I'll use the Irish one, and I'll be an EU citizen as opposed to the UK one is the obvious choice for tomorrow morning. So enough waffle from me. I look forward to seeing those that are there on Saturday, and indeed tomorrow night for those that are there for dinner and all the rest. It'll be nice to get away from this place for a while. So round to you, Rob. I think it is 0DTS with the group. This is GI4DOH.
Right, let's mute that. Make sure the audio's working first. Yeah, looks okay. Might be a little bit low. I'm still using this USB mic on the desk, but you have to kind of talk up to it to. It's lacking in gain a little bit. I have to compensate quite a lot. Right. Yeah. I'd like to say I've been really concentrating, but I've been doing something else at the same time as the net's been on. But yeah. What was I going to say? Yeah, I don't mind driving, but I'm more of a. If it's like an hour and a half, fair enough. If it's any more than that, I'm just not really that interested. But that's just me. I'm not a travelling person. As far as the van goes, Mike, that is still a work in progress. That I haven't found a replacement yet. Working on it, but this one has yet another fault appearing on it, a recurring fault. So its days are very numbered now. So I'll have to get something sorted soon. I don't want to go back to using the car because that's just totally impractical. So yeah, but anyway. We'll get something eventually. Yeah, I don't envy the contest logs, Dave, at all. I wouldn't enjoy doing that. It's bad enough at putting my own in, never mind. Remembering to fill everything in, never mind checking everybody else's. So, yeah. Good work on that, that's for sure. What else? As far as throwing things away, no, I'm not good at that. I'm good at keeping things, but yeah, one day, if I ever move out of here, I'm going to have to downsize quite a bit. What else would I say? HV, yeah. Well, I hope you do find something else for HV, Noel. Not exactly a regular user or anything, but I have accessed it once on 77s, I believe. Quite a few years ago, but yeah. Same applies to ZZ. I've seen ZZ and accessed that a couple of times, and it would be a shame to see that one go as well. But that one's actually in quite a good direction for me. But, And I noticed, I think on Twitter last night or this evening, someone had put on that there was quite interesting tropo forecast for the next week or so. So I need to have a look at that and double check. Yeah. Anyway, so other things I've been playing around with is very low frequencies again. And I kind of had some accidental success on here, so I haven't got a great deal of information on it. I'll just put a couple of pictures together, but put that. Right, let's just pause that. So this is receiving anyway, so this goes back to a week or so back. But basically, there's a couple of spectrograms, very, very long-term ones. So that is basically 2 days worth of time frame left to right. So the top one there is on 8.27 kilohertz. That's 8.27 kilohertz, not even hundreds of kilohertz or anything. There's a German station, been doing quite a lot of tests. And the little white line, horizontal line on there, that's his signal. And he's running, his antenna is earth electrodes, so earth loop antenna of sorts that's about 450 meters in length. And I think he runs a few hundred watts of power into that as well, 300 or 400 watts or something. And then the next day, so the lighter vertical bands that you can see kind of define the night and the day. So afternoon, sort of the start of the light color, kind of like the stronger noise level or higher noise level is a lighter color, and that generally tends to be sort of midday to sort of 3, 4 in the morning, something like that. That's the kind of band of high noise, and then sort of 5 in the morning till midday is kind of a low noise slot that everyone usually tries to transmit in. So daytime, early morning, on a morning, daytime is the best time to try on VLF stuff. And yeah, the bottom trace, which is there, you can see the right hand side of the bottom trace is 5.17 kilohertz, and you can just see a faint horizontal line towards the right hand side. So that was received as well. So that was on my little 2 foot long bit of wire and a really high impedance input E-field antenna. So it's possible. And the vertical span is, let me think, 20 millihertz. That's right, vertical span is 20 millihertz, so quite narrow. If I just go back to, hang on, that one, so I've got the next one. This one's a bit more zoomed in, but where are we at? Let's see. Yeah, you can see it there anyway, but that was another day, another signal that he transmitted, and it was really, really strong. But, yeah, so I've been playing around myself trying to get some signals across to Clive G4FEP, who's about 16, 17 kilometers away, and we've been trying to send some signals through the earth, just a carrier, trying to do a similar sort of thing but very local. We haven't succeeded yet, nothing at all, but let's see, I'll just load another picture up here. Hang on. Stand by. Thought I'd loaded that one in, but I hadn't. Image. Just see if I can get this one. So yeah, I kind of accidentally did a bit of DX on VLF. That's basically the full story. I'll try not to drag this out too much, so no, it's not really that much interest being TV and my non-TV or anything, but VLF, where did I put it? Never put it. Don't know where I put that anyway. I'll just share my desktop and that'll be easier. Display. Alright, there's the desktop. Alright, see if that comes through. Does it? Yeah, it does. Okay. So that's on Google Earth. So I've got there's various sheds in the yard and everything. So I've got an earth spike up the top where the 3 lines join together, and I've got an earth spike at the just at the bottom of the blue line near one of the other sheds, and that's basically the antenna or earth that I've been transmitting in on 8.2 kilohertz. Just, you know, playing around really. Anyway, so that's running north-south. So basically I managed to get a signal down to there's a guy in Todmorden, Paul Nicholson. He's got an amateur call, but he's been in the VLF for quite a long time, and he has like an online spectrogram of the same thing like what I've got running, and my signal showed up on there. So that's 100 kilometers on 8.27 kilohertz, kind of by accident, but yeah. So I think that's a first for the UK for someone without a vertical antenna and a massive loading coil that's done any kind of DX that I'm aware of. So I'm quite amazed, to be honest. Yeah. If you'd gone back 10 years, everyone would have said, no, that'll never work, but seemingly it can do. And that was about 80 watts of signal into the earth electrodes, so quite interesting. Really weak. Really narrow bandwidth, can't really do a lot with it, but still, I don't know, I quite like the DX weak signal stuff. So anyway, the next attempt is going to be putting an east-west earth electrode in, so I can try and get signals to the west, which is where Clive G4FEP is, because he's not receiving any of my signals. So if I do a loop east-west, then in theory that should be directional towards the east and west. So that's the next thing. So yeah, anyway, hope I haven't bored everyone too much with that, but yes, VLF. It's a bit like optical really. It's kind of out of the regular radio band. It's not a kind of RF frequency as far as anyone calls it, but there we go. So I hope that was interest to somebody anyway. But, something different. Oh, there we go. Right, what else? I don't think there's anything else. Oh no, I've nearly got the PA finished for KM for 23 SEMS. That'll replace the one that's up there. That's nearly done. I've made a little, I haven't finished that yet, but there's a little milled housing for a little driver stage that's going to bolt inside, just to bring the Pluto TX level up to the level of the Mitsubishi driver stage. So do a bit more of that this week. Right, I think that's it then. So round to you, Noel. GTZ M0 DTS. Quite a low noise floor. Well, I must have, yeah. JTT's been trying, he's very close now, but main noise generator, mains, 50 Hz harmonics, and static. Static from lightning. Actually, I'll briefly, hang on, while we're there, I'll show you what it looks like tonight. There's the VLF spectrum. This lot in the middle here, it's bouncing up and down like you don't know what, that's all static from lightning, more than likely, atmospheric stuff. These vertical bars at the top are military signals, I would imagine. There's quite a few different ones up there, and then there's nothing else. So the 8 kilohertz is buried right in the middle of that noise. So there you go, quite surprising. You would think that the 5 kilohertz and 2.9 kilohertz that's been used recently would be better, but actually it's more difficult. So there we go. Longer wavelengths though. Right, finished now. Round to you, Noel. GTZ M0 DTS.
Yeah, AGDZ Yeah, interesting, Rob. I'm a bit like you. I like anything that's a bit different. Yeah, hence this 50 meg 49.97 beacon messing around. Yeah, it's good, good. And your previous over. That's I'm pretty paranoid and always have been about using a separate battery when out mobile, when out portable. That would be the worst thing to happen, really. This car I've got has got a low battery sensor, and it squeaks at you when the battery's getting low anyway. But I always run off a separate battery source. Yeah, Brian, the NNS there. There's a lot of interest in the radio astronomy group, looking at there's a lot of analysis to be done on meteors, and what Brian and the group are doing is applying for a 50 watt 100 watt beacon on 50 megs pointing upwards, and they're hoping to put a network of receivers around the country so they can look at the reflections from different angles. So Brian's working on that. Yes. Yes, it's a bit surprising. 45 minutes should run the car battery down, unless it's one of these modern cars with tiny batteries. But yeah. Okay. Yeah, interesting. What else? Quickly, yeah, well done, Dave, on the contest scoring. That's it's bad enough having to fill the logbook in the first place, so to score, I guess you're getting on for 100 entries. That's that takes some doing. Well done. Yeah, Mike Winterhill. How about a Ryde receiver left up there, which keys a streamer when it gets a signal? You can have a remote receiver. Well, there is, but it's very slow. I thought that would before I said it, actually. Yeah, but that would be quite interesting. And Bernie, if you're still listening, Cat Part 2 is not this Sunday. I think it's the 16th of October. Yeah, so not this Sunday. And yes, the weather doesn't look great. We were hoping to be able to put stalls outside. But I don't think that's going to be possible, unfortunately. The BATC shop will be there with bargain prices, rally prices, a little bit off, because we're not paying the postage. Yeah, I was just thinking that the Ryde receiver mic has got the GPIO line out, which keys when it gets a signal, and that could then key a streamer, so that'd be quite interesting. Right, okay, what else quickly on the chat? Yeah. Okay, good. Nothing there. Right, who's it to go round to? I can't remember who it went last time. Oh dear. Not very good. Bernie. Must be Bernie, I guess. No, it isn't. Bernie's been. Who's it go to, Dave? Whoever it is, take it. Gareth, that'll do. And we'll see you all on, well, some people will see tomorrow, and if not, see everybody else on Saturday. That's good. But yes, Mike, 333 kilosymbols ought to be able to work down ADSL. Interesting little project. Okay, there you go, that's what I just said. Right, cheers everybody, and have a good evening. Gee. And have a good evening. Cheers everybody, and have a good evening.
Right. Okay, I've just switched my receiver off by pushing the wrong button on the Virgin remote, which I don't usually use. But I'm watching the chat from G4X80. Thanks, Noel. See you tomorrow afternoon at some point. Martin, the journey is subject to middle lane plonkers and lorries trying to overtake each other on the M40 doing half a mile an hour faster than the one they're overtaking. But I've done that probably 100 times, that journey, and I can do Warwick in 1 hour 50 minutes on a good day and 2 hours on a not quite so good. But yeah, whatever. And then it's about another 8 miles further on to Baggington. Have a look at it on Google Earth, because you turn off the road, you turn off the 46 onto the 45, and then immediately you take a little slip road to the left, and then left again, and the old mill is along there, as indeed is the Midland Air Museum a bit further along. So that's interesting stuff, that, Rob. I'd be interested what your distance was for the red light contact that you mentioned earlier as well. That would be, I've got one of them mega powerful red LEDs out of a data projector many years ago. Junction 15, I think, Mike, is the one you want. A46. And then Trundle up there. Okay, yeah, the HV site, that's a real shame, that. Site is of course the key, and the one that you mentioned in your email, Mike, is not Mike, sorry, Noel. Lovely site, but it's a 2-hour drive, and as Rob says, that's near my limit, unless it's something very special. But it is what it is. We can talk about that. Thermal imaging camera, I bet that was a few bob. I've often fancied one of those. I've got one of them infrared thermometers, which is quite useful for publicising things. Telling you how hot it is. I've used it to solve heater pipes on cars and things like that, so it can be helpful, especially if the thing is black. I was going to say that Duncan and Mike, that Justin publicises the Smarty mobile phone package with unlimited data, and he's put gigabytes through it from GB3HV, not HV, JV. Deary me. Bernie, yeah, exercise is good. It keeps you young. I'm now going to do a Colin, because I haven't found a way to get the photos off my phone yet onto my PC, because it's a new phone and it won't link to Dropbox. That is the wine cap mushroom bed. They're called wine caps because they're sort of red coloured, and they're very much like a white button mushroom, only tastier and firmer. And as you can see, I'd expect them to grow out the top of the bed, but they just grew, as you can see, all the way along the bed, popping up like mushrooms even. Okay, I've also got an enormous crop of green gauges to deal with. Beautiful plums, but the tree has 1 year on and 1 year off, and we're on an on year this year. That's it for me. I think I'll shut up and pass it round, and see you on Saturday, I hope. I haven't got a lot of junk to sell, but I have got a Nokia amp palette that somebody might want for 40 quid, and a power supply which I posted that nobody seems to want, but whatever. See you further down. GHGKQ to pick it up from G4X80, listening to the net.
G4X80 and the net. Successfully muted. G8GKQ. Okay, good. Well, I'm pleased to hear everybody's anticipating Cat. We're looking at doing a group photo, probably just after the announcements. So shorts will be welcome, and we'll have a knobbly knees competition after that. No, it'd be good. 12-volt batteries going flat. Yes, I have a problem in that I've got a hybrid car, and it's only got a 27 ampere battery, so I've given up using that, and I now use a 100 ampere hour leisure battery, which will normally take me through a whole contest weekend if I can get to charge it on the Saturday evening. F1 EJP script, mine, the one you're watching at the moment, has been running since 5 o'clock this evening. I think I'm very lucky. I've got one of the earlier version scripts using the Intel QSV video encoder, and it seems to work really well. But I think it's very much PC dependent, which is one of the reasons the Portsdown project doesn't offer support for them, because every PC is different. Contest entries, I've processed 70 so far. I've got 30 Italian ones to put in. Now some people have put in 2 or 3 entries, so that's probably about 80 entrants, something like that. So a good turnout. Okay then, I'll close the net now, but thanks very much to you all for coming on, and look forward to meeting most of you on Saturday, and be really good if you're able to make it, Martin. G8GKQ closing the BATC net and leaving the frequency clear. Good night all.
That's just a brief one, but that's the moon on a thermal camera. Ignore the temperature reading. I don't know why. Well, I don't understand the reading, but yeah, it stands out massively from the dark sky, so quite interesting. That's just one of the little ones that plugs in a Samsung phone, Gareth. They're quite cheap. If you watch for them on eBay, you get one for about 50 quid. Enough resolution for what we need to do. So there you go. Anyway, I found that one quite interesting. Someone commented on the I think it was the UK nanowaves for the optical stuff, and I thought, I wonder if you can see the moon when you're putting your thermal camera at it, and sure enough, it sees that no problem at all. There we go. Yeah, mine's called a Seek Thermal, I think. Seek Thermal is the company. Little tiny thing. But, yeah, been very handy. Okay, 7.3 M0 DTS.
Going dark outside. Yeah, they come built into phones now. There are several phones that have them built in. I'm sure they'll be widely available within the next year or two, until someone decides to ban them for whatever reason they dream up. I shall have a look and see if I can get it to work on the moon. So I'll see if I can take a picture. Because I hadn't thought of that, but it's a good idea, Rob. Anyway, 7th everyone, G0MJW, putting up a spurious test card, which is confusing Tim probably.